You mentioned something about outside of the podcast how humanity does not recognize how much darkness we live in.
Yes.
And so this is what I was alluding to. The very act of the necessity to ascend and bring light into our being means that it's off, or it's the sun that's inside of us has been eclipsed and is not shining. This is what I mean, but does that make sense?
Not only does it make sense, I love the language. It's truthful and poetic. Welcome to Call for the Truth. I am LaOta of the Sun, and this is Tarvars of the Sun, and we welcome you here today. We will be talking about the light body movement. We'll be explaining more shortly. Tarvars, will you call in the truth for us?
Well, certainly. And we encourage you all to join us in this call for the truth. Shall we call forth the frequency of truth to come forward? Shall we call to see the truth in all that we see? Shall we call to hear the truth in all that we hear? Shall we call to speak the truth, calling forth the courage to speak the truth? Shall we call forth nothing less than the truth to come forward into our experience? And so today, in the truth, we're talking about light body. Before we do, if you're about that light body, if you're like, whoa, they're talking about light body, comment light body. By the way, last video, I see y'all commented simulation, so we're going to talk about the simulation at some future point. However, like, comment, subscribe. Let's lock in. So, LaOta, what is the light body? Let's start with that.
Well, the actual light body is the column from actually above the head all the way down to your root chakra. So this is what is the structure that holds the light in our energy vortexes, which we know of as chakras. So the idea of the light body exists multidimensionally. It exists in us physically, mentally, and spiritually. It exists in our luminous fields. It exists in the many luminous bodies that we have, and it exists as a cosmic reality and a universal truth of who we are. Now that's very general, but that's the gist of it.
Interesting. So what does this have to do with chakras? Because, people are trying to line these chakras up. I'm personally moving away from the word chakras. I just want to stick with energy centers.
Yes.
Because I'm not doing Sanskrit mantras. I don't speak Sanskrit respectfully, but I ain't got time for that. We want to ground it Western, but what does the light body have to do with the energy centers?
The energy centers that in our current system, there are many systems of energy centers. They go from the base chakra to the 15th chakra, from the base chakra to the 12th chakra. We are working with the 7th chakra base system. So that would be the base chakra, the sacral chakra, the solar plex chakra, the heart chakra, the throat chakra, the third eye, and then the crown. So that is the system that we are in. There are many systems, and many of them quite valid, but what we're working with is the 7 energy centers. These energy centers operate as attractor fields for certain types of energy and emotional experiences. So if you were to have an experience that affected your identity, you might feel that below the navel in the solar plexus, because that's the identity center. If you're having an experience of emotional love, you may feel that in the heart chakra. If you're having an experience of wanting to communicate, you may feel that in the throat chakra. What has happened to humanity is that we have not digested all of our experiences effectively because we've been silenced and much of our power has been stolen. So in the case of someone trying to make us do something, we might do it even though we don't want to do it, and then that leaves an interference patterns in the energy center. It might be in the crown chakra, it could be in the solar plexus, and those energy patterns then accumulate as debris, and then we hear people saying, oh, well, let me line up your chakras, or let me balance your chakras, because I can see there's debris or dirt in there, meaning residual or leftover energy that has not properly digested, that needs to be combusted. Is that clear?
That makes sense. I can see the truth of that.
So that's the idea, the general idea of what the energy centers do. They're really holding onto acute, undigested accumulations. And that then becomes a ceiling or a limit to how far we can go until we release or combust those. So the idea of balancing is an interesting idea, but of course, everything balances better in cleanliness. So the cleaning of the chakras, or the illumination, which is the shaman way, the illumination, where you put light into the chakras and it combusts what can be combust, what the person is willing to let go of. Some things people are not willing to let go of. So the idea of their chakras being able to be properly illuminated doesn't exist until they're willing to let go of the pain or the suffering or whatever the level of distortion is in the chakra system. Does that answer that?
Yeah. Yeah. So this process of pulling light into the body to become more light. So when I hear that, automatically, by default, it alludes to the idea that we dark. Would you speak on that idea?
I'd like to talk about it from the point of view of the sun. That we know in our world that the sun shines on the good and the bad. We know that the sun gives life to all things that grow. We know that the sun actually animates things before our eyes, especially in those things that grow from the earth, from the mother herself. That it is the direction, the power that summons forth the life that has been cultivated in the earth with the water and the land. So the light brings it forth. It is effectively the divine masculine. It is the instruction. It is the power. It is the action that takes place. So we are a replica in every way of a microcosm and a macrocosm. So we are in the earth, in the earthly body. We are water beings. We're earthly and we're earth and water. And we need the light so that we can grow. So that's metaphorical, but that's the truth of the reality, is that light is needed, and in our current condition we are not carrying the level of light that's possible for the bodies that were designed for us to inhabit. So we are not firing on all cylinders, so to say. We're not lighting up as much as we could, which would automatically detour anything that was less than light from us. Does that make sense to you?
It does. I want to be more succinct with what my statement was. You mentioned something about outside of the podcast, how humanity does not recognize how much darkness we live in.
Yes.
And so this is what I was alluding to. The very act of the necessity to ascend and bring light into our being means that it's off, or it's the sun that's inside of us has been eclipsed and is not shining. This is what I mean, but does that make sense?
Not only does it make sense, I love the language. It's truthful and poetic. We as humanity, not just in our lifetimes, but in our ancestors' lifetimes, and for the last 25,000 years or more, have been living in a time where our light has been utilized by the structures of our world in a variety of different ways, where we have grown into less and less sovereignty, where we allow more and more for our own satisfaction and will to accomplish a thing to be done by another. Like, it's better for somebody else to cook for us. It's better for somebody else to grow our food. It's better for someone else to help us travel around. It's better for someone else to build a device that interprets what we want to say and how we communicate. And then that then makes us a consumer of something that we could be the author of in varying levels and degrees, as a person would want to. But because this has been usurped, we don't even have the desire to want to author ourselves. We want someone else. We're mad when someone else doesn't deliver to us the thing that we could deliver to ourselves and gain some satisfaction from. But when they deliver it, it just is sated. It sates our appetite for whatever it is, but it doesn't get us any further along the line of elevation or cultivation or soul growth, any of those kinds of things. So it's very important that we recognize, and I think this is your point, it's like a fish swimming in the water doesn't realize that the water's dirty. We're swimming in a world where the trees are dead, where the produce coming out of the ground lacks minerals, where the air is full of aluminum, where our bodies are full of funguses and viruses and overgrowth of bacteria. That is not the state of humanity, where the water is contaminated. So we're living, and we've learned to live in it. So we've gotten very comfortable. It's like the dog that's chained to the fence and he can go 6 feet, and then he learns that his world is 6 feet wide and he doesn't want for any more. And then when you remove the chain, he doesn't inspire to create something better, because he's been cultivated in that. So have we been. That is a reality, and it will take a little effort and a way of kind of juxtaposing the position of how we look at the world so that we can see what all is really available to us.
That answers a question I had, which was what stops a person from activating their light body? And like you said, this reinforcement of the toxicities of our world. You know, it's like everything out there that's attempting to be the authority or perpetuate this type of consumptive behavior, as you said. It's funny, when you said that, in my mind, I heard the phrase, light don't parasite.
Oh, that's so true.
It's like, damn, it doesn't.
That's so true.
It literally just gives life.
I love that. That could be a motto. Light don't parasite. Light don't parasite. Because it's true. It's really, really true. We here at Of the Sun have developed the light body movement. And today we are announcing that those who are interested will be able to join us and learn how to activate your light bodies. And we plan on having at least a monthly meeting with those who want to participate, with a variety of different practices that can be done and free events that can be attended, as well as being able to come to our monthly healing talk and having an opportunity to speak if you want to. So we are interested in those who are interested in this. We are interested in those who are willingly want to move forward in their elevation, and they understand that the law of reciprocity, that there's a give and take in this. This is a very important understanding, that even if it's very little that you give, that we should be within the law of reciprocity, that in giving you receive, in asking you get. These are all laws and principles that do work when we work them and understand that they work, and don't stop them from working through our own misunderstandings.
That makes sense. So for people out there who are like, ooh, I like this light body thing, but where are we headed with it? First off, what's the benefits of even pursuing such an endeavor, especially for those who are on the spiritual path?
Well, I could ask you to share with me what your light body experience has been. You've been working on it, or I can share with you that I'll share with you mine and then ask you to share yours. There is a press that humanity feels. There is a press that has made many of us depressed, many of us stressed. There's a press from the world that we live in, from all of the people who've been cultivated in the world we live in, who also now have become the ones who press us to do certain things in a certain way, to be the status quo, to kneel at the altar, to kiss the ring, to do the things that to wear the suit, to wear the tie, to be what everyone else has always seen, to do what is approved of. When you start developing your light body, that begins to push away from you as you develop your own power and your own sovereignty, and you recognize, who you are, the divinity that you exist within. Much of that falls away in varying degrees, during various times. It takes time to build a light body, but it's so worth it because you don't feel the press of the animosity and the resistance that comes into all of us. It's not as if only there's one woman in South Dakota who's being pressed. It's not like that. Everybody on the planet is being pressed.
You hear that, South Dakota? You're not alone, wherever that is.
So the benefit is that you become the blueprint that you were designed to be. This idea of resuscitating and bringing back the light body resuscitates your original design, your birthright that has been stolen through the obfuscation of our 10 strands of DNA and the many generations, thousands of years that we've lived in levels of captivity and hurting. The light body moves all of that aside so that you can have more freedom, more power, see the path, be inspired, be the creator. It is who we are, and we encourage you to join us in it.
Thank you for sharing. So before we wrap up, what is this leading to? What's this idea of the light body movement? Where are we going with this?
It's making me smile just thinking about it. It means that we'd have a world of fully awake, light humans that are in favor of life, who are able to speak up, who are satisfied and sovereign, who are not afraid of what another person thinks. I'm not afraid of your thought. Because now many of us have been cultivated in oh no, you're thinking something about me. You don't think I'm attractive. I'm afraid of that thought. The light gives you the clarity that you don't need to be afraid of another person's thought because your thought now has electricity and light and power and fire in it too. So you can think your way into your own exaltation, that someone else's thought is not the author of your action. So I see the world, I was describing it this morning, I see it in that scene that we saw in Mutants where the professor is in his place where he can see psychic material and he can see all of these different beings lighting up. I can see that the new world, the new earth will be lit up by people who are operating in 12 strands of DNA and have light bodies moving towards their own best and highest interests in the best and highest interests of humanity and the planet. That's the goal, and that's how I see it.
It's a beautiful vision. Did you have anything else you wanted to share on this before we call for the truth? I
encourage you all to contact us, join on to the light body movement. Only the ones who want to shift. If you like your life and you want to stay here, this is not for you. This is only for the ones who want to change their experience and their experience with their own personal satisfaction and power. If you want to be intimate with who you were meant to be, what your blueprint is, this may be for you.
Great. We'll have a link in the description for those who are interested. So working with the Call for the Truth divination cards, going to ask the cards to share with us the truth that we need to know and understand about the light body. Sometimes they jump out, even when they're like, nope, it was the other one.
And today's card is?
The theme is evolution. And the maxim reads, the problem is us and the solution is us. Be brave to change yourself. And I think that literally goes back to what we were saying. Become the light. Influence where you can give life, literally be the sun. That's
Absolutely.
Part of the goal.
And I'm thinking of the word courage. Be courageous. Join us. Be courageous. Thank you. We thank you all for joining us. We hope you will come back and see us again. We leave you with the greetings of In Lakesh and Veritas with honor, respect, and gratitude. Thank you.